Britain made the biggest economic mistake in history. It cost them $35 trillion over 70 years. The mistake destroyed the world's dominant empire and turned it into a middle power. And right now, America is making the exact same mistake. This is the story of how welfare states bankrupt empires. Our story begins in 1945. Britain had just won World War II, but was broke. Cities bombed, 1 million dead. The people wanted security, so they elected a labor government with a radical plan: the welfare state. Free health care, pensions for everyone, unemployment benefits, cradle-to-grave security. William Beveridge's 1942 report promised to eliminate poverty, cure sickness, educate everyone. The problem? Nobody asked how to pay for it. Britain was bankrupt. They owed America billions, but they built it anyway. The National Health Service launched in 1948. Free health care for everyone. Costs immediately doubled projections. Demand was infinite. When something is free, people use it without limit. By 1950, Britain had the highest tax rates in the developed world. Still not enough. The welfare state expanded. Pensions, disability, public housing. Politicians discovered a formula: promise benefits, win elections, raise taxes later. Each decade, the welfare state consumed more of the economy. Britain stagnated while Europe boomed. Germany rebuilt. France modernized. Britain managed decline. By the 1970s, Britain was dying. Inflation, 25%. Unemployment over 1 million. Strikes paralyzed the country. The government begged the IMF for loans. The IMF demanded cuts. But the welfare state was politically untouchable. So they borrowed and borrowed. Margaret Thatcher became Prime Minister in 1979. She privatized industries, broke union power. But she couldn't touch the NHS or pensions. Every government after promised to control costs. Every government failed. The spending grew regardless of who was in power. Today, Britain spends over £1 trillion per year. 45% of GDP. The NHS costs $200 billion. Pensions, $200 billion. Welfare, $300 billion. Britain's economy grows at 1 to 2% per year. The welfare state grows at 3 to 4%. Basic math says this ends in collapse. The total cost since 1945? Over $35 trillion. It's 20 years of Britain's entire current GDP. The NHS has the longest wait times in the developed world. 6-month waits for surgery. Year-long waits for specialists. People die waiting. Pensions are inadequate. Right. Welfare traps people in dependency. Britain could have spent that $35 trillion on infrastructure, technology, research. Instead, they spent it on consumption that creates dependency, not prosperity. Now, Britain is a middle power with a stagnant economy. The empire is gone. What remains is debt and promises that can't be kept. Now America, making the exact same mistake. America's welfare state started with Social Security in the 1930s, then Medicare in 1965. Then Medicaid. Each program started limited. Each expanded beyond recognition. Today, America spends $3.5 trillion per year on entitlements. 60% of the federal budget. 3 programs: Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. The costs are exploding. Medicare went from $200 billion in 2000 to $900 billion in 2025. Social Security went from $400 billion to $1.3 trillion. The programs grow at 6 to 8% per year. The economy grows at 2 to 3%. The math breaks, just like Britain. Demographics make it worse. Baby boomers retiring, 10,000 per day. In 1960, there were 5 workers per retiree. Today there are 3. By 2030, there will be 2. Eventually 1 worker supporting 1 retiree. Impossible. The Congressional Budget Office publishes reports every year showing the math doesn't work. Social Security's trust fund runs out in 2033. 8 years. Medicare's runs out in 2028. 3 years. When empty, benefits get cut automatically. 25%. Politicians will borrow, print money, do anything except reform. Both parties are complicit. Democrats want to expand benefits. Republicans want to cut taxes. Either cut spending. America's national debt was $5 trillion in 2000. 36 trillion in 2025, projected 70 trillion by 2040 official projections. Not worst case. Base case. What happens when debt gets that large? You become Britain. Economic stagnation, high taxes, inflation. The empire ends. America will lose superpower status, not through military defeat but fiscal suicide, promising benefits it can't afford, refusing hard choices. Exactly what Britain did. Can it be avoided? Technically, yes. Raise retirement age to 70. Means test benefits. Reform healthcare. Australia reformed pensions. New Zealand reformed welfare. Sweden reformed everything. It's possible. But it requires political courage. Telling voters they can't have everything. That promises were too generous. American politicians won't do this. Democrats call it cruel. Republicans call it political suicide. So they do nothing. The crisis isn't 50 years away. It's 10 years away. Maybe less. Britain's mistake took 70 years to become obvious. America's on year 90 since Social Security started. The mistakes are the same. Promise unlimited benefits. Don't fund them properly. Ignore the math. Refuse to reform. Eventually you bankrupt the country. Britain lost the empire. Became irrelevant. America's doing it now. The 35 trillion Britain spent bought nothing. A welfare state that doesn't work. An economy that doesn't grow. America's spending itself into the same trap. 36 trillion in debt and counting. Entitlements growing faster than the economy. Politicians arguing about everything except the math. And the math says this ends badly. If you made it this far, let me know your thoughts. Can America avoid Britain's fate, or is it already too late? And subscribe if you haven't. Thanks for watching.